Happy Halloween, everyone. And if you don't celebrate Halloween, happy Tuesday. Yeah, it's Tuesday. Slow week. So Cartoon Network has had a long history of embracing the spooky spirit of Halloween in various ways. Over the years, several Cartoon Network original shows have joined in on the Halloween fun. Notable examples include the Ed, Edd and Eddy special Boo Ha Ha, codenamed Kids Next Door Operation Tricky, and I mean, who could forget the regular show Terror Tales of the Park trilogy? However, one show that stood out for its celebration of all things eerie and spooky even after the month of October was The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. Now, we've delved into the depths of this series earlier this year with the Billy and Mandy Iceberg. You can find a link to that video in the bio below if you're interested. But in essence, the show's creator Maxwell Adams displayed great creativity by seamlessly blending wacky humor, fart jokes, and supernatural elements into a children's cartoon. And somehow those elements blended together made for a very incredible series. Now, Billy and Mandy technically has a few Halloween specials like Jacked Up Halloween, but the one in particular that I'm itching to dive into today is Underfist, Halloween Bash, or Billy and Mandy's Underfist as it was originally marketed. The reason why I want to explore this Halloween special in particular is because it was originally intended to be much more than just a single episode or special of Billy and Mandy. In fact, Maxwell Adams envisioned this masterpiece to be the setup for an entirely new series. However, if it wasn't obvious enough, Cartoon Network did not greenlight the series. So what exactly is Underfist? Was Underfist good? What made Underfist so special? What was planned for its future? Why didn't Cartoon Network move forward with the spin-off? And why hasn't my mom called me for dinner yet? I mean, Jesus Christ, my dinosaur chicken nuggies were supposed to be done like 30 minutes ago. all of these questions, except for the last one, will be answered as soon as you hit the subscribe button. Nah, I'm just kidding. You don't have to click it. I'm literally only asking you to subscribe just so I could see the subscribe button light up when I rewatch this video on the 31st. Anyways, Underfist, Halloween Bash, was Maxwell Adams' brilliant idea to expand the grim and evil universe. However, instead of continuing the spotlight on Billy and Mandy, he chose to focus the story on the side characters who often got their moments but became very popular after appearing in the series numerous times. These characters include Irwin, who was Billy's best friend, Mandy's worst nightmare, and a self-proclaimed nerd. Haas Delgado, a professional monster hunter and just all-around badass. General Scar, formerly a star of Evil Con Carne, and now known for his love of gardening and also having a very short temper.
Just get off my lawn and don't beg for sugar elsewhere!
Jeff the Spider, voiced by Adams himself and Billy's son. And Fred Fredberger, who, well, he does this.
Oh look! The Underfist fights evil and their friends too, and they live in a volcano!
While Billy, Mandy, and Grimm and a load of other characters make appearances in this film, these 5 side characters make Underfist Halloween Bash their fucking bread and butter, baby, showing audiences and viewers that they can be just as hilarious, as brutal, as loving as the original main cast. So let's dive through their story and see what kind of impact they've made in the grim and evil universe.
Take these! Get out of Dracula face!
On Halloween night, Irwin, Billy, Mandy, and Grimm are out trick-or-treating at Dracula's house. Billy is dressed as a spooky witch, Mandy portrays the Spanish Inquisition, and Irwin dons a Dracula costume. Not gonna lie, Mandy really reminds me more of Alucard from Hellsing than the Spanish Inquisition. I think it's the hat that's doing it for me, but I digress. However, Dracula quickly points out all the ways that Irwin doesn't quite match up to his vampire persona, roasting him about his nerdy appearance and choice of costume. Dracula's banter is then interrupted by his wife, who demands a foot rub. How nice. This really feels like just another normal episode of Billy and Mandy. You know, nothing crazy out of the ordinary just yet. After receiving pennies from Dracula, everyone but Irwin decides to call it a night. Irwin tries to persuade Mandy to stay, emphasizing that they won't have many more opportunities to enjoy such Halloween traditions when they become adults. God, what a giant simp. His heartfelt speech moves Grimm to tears, but Mandy remains unimpressed and threatens him by mentioning the Spanish Inquisition's penchant for burning vampires. So Irwin pisses his panties in fear and decides to continue trick-or-treating on his own.
Like Sam's in the hourglass, yo! So are the days of our lives!
Wait, did Irwin really just make a Days of Our Lives reference? So Days of Our Lives, for those of you who don't know, was this soap opera my mom used to watch years ago. I don't know what channel it was on, but during my elementary school weekdays when I wasn't feeling great and stayed home, I would always hear,
"Like sand through the hourglass, so were the days of our lives,"
on the TV downstairs. Once I heard that quote, I knew not to bother her for anything. I don't know why, but that was like her thing back in the day. I have no idea if this quote is from any other place or not. I just specifically remember only hearing it during the Days of Our Lives intro. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. It doesn't matter. Irwin's solo adventure takes him to Haas Delgado's trailer, where he is mistaken for a real vampire due to his costume. Haas nearly stabs him to death with a stake, but quickly realizes that it's Halloween, and retreats, albeit with a suspicious eye on Irwin. Ooh-wee, thank goodness he doesn't know that Irwin is secretly part vampire and part mummy. If you guys don't remember, it was confirmed in the Billy and Mandy episode, That's My Mummy, that Irwin's mother is in fact a mummy, making Irwin half mummy. And in the episode Dracula Must Die, we learn that Dracula is in fact Irwin's grandfather, making him 1/4 vampire. Yes, this penny thrower right here is his grandfather, and he sure as hell isn't happy with his grandson making him look like a giant joke. The camera then pans to reveal a Halloween parade in progress, with appearances by Chowder of all characters, all inside a pumpkin-shaped parade float. I thought this was a really cool Easter egg. Anyways, Irwin encounters Jeff and Fred Fredberger, who are experimenting with candy webs and also Dookie. They're eating tons of candy, and Jeff is shooting colorful webs out of his ass, and Fred Fredberger thought that he could do the same, but ew, yikes.
You know, I don't think those are webs at all, Fred.
Yes!
Finally, he attempts to visit Scar, but unintentionally damages Scar's prized purple pansies, leading to an angry outburst. Mindy, the preppy, popular, uptight girl, then shows up to mock Irwin. The special then cuts to a credit gag, which is really funny. However, the credit gag reverses when Mindy asks for Irwin's help, which is completely out of character for her. You would never see this in a million years. Well, as it turns out, it's all part of a much more sinister and diabolical and evil and twisted and supernatural and scary and sinister and evil and super scary and twisted and diabolical and very, very spooky plan. Okay, you get it. Mindy tricks Irwin into touching a magical diamond gem that resembles a doorknob, absorbing some of his supernatural vampire mummy energy, and that energy ended up being transferred into dozens of other magical diamond gems. Those gems, with the power of Irwin's vampire mummy energy, would open dozens of underworld portals, unleashing an army of evil candy warriors led by a marshmallow bunny named Mr. Bun Bun, which would then go on to terrorize the entire neighborhood. Haas arrives and takes on the candy army, but they manage to weaken him with grape soda, sending him crashing into Scar's yard. Scar, furious over his damaged pansies, joins the battle with a giant robot. The situation escalates into an all-out war with no rules or mercy. Mindy tricks Irwin yet again, this time pretending to be kidnapped by Bun Bun, carrying her into the underworld. When the candy level gets out of control, Haas calls his giant fist car, and our 5 characters escape and begin to plan their attack on the underworld. That fist vehicle is awesome, by the way. Like, imagine driving that thing through the Garden State Parkway. Traffic? No problem, bucko. Irwin during this time falls asleep and has a dream, foreshadowing his destiny of becoming a vampire mummy hybrid monster thing. While asleep, the world elects a new president. Now, any guesses as to who that can be? Well, you're right. It's Mandy. Mandy is the president, and Grim and Billy are basically her right-hand men and also scientists. However, Mandy was kidnapped and sent to the underworld as well, so the team's mission is to save Mandy, and stop Bun Bun. They eventually discover a portal to the underworld in the rain, but when Haas and Irwin jump in, the portal shuts down. The two are then captured. It's at this point that Haas learns about Irwin's monster heritage and completely loses his mind. The reason why Mindy tricks Irwin is because she believes that he is the reason for her turning into a witch. So she opted for a job working with Bun Bun to take Irwin's powers and harness it for themselves. The Candy Warriors then try to sacrifice Haas by pushing him into hot cocoa, which sounds pretty awesome, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, not the dying part, I just mean, like, imagine chilling in a cup of hot cocoa. That just sounds awesome. That's like being in a hot tub where you can drink the liquid. By this point, Irwin's vampire mummy powers have manifested. Despite Haas hating monsters with a burning passion, Irwin swoops in, saving him. Jeff, Fred, and Scar, who use Haas's car to drill or punch their way into the underworld, aid in the escape, but before they make it out of the underworld, Irwin grabs Madam President Mandy and they all escape. There's also this musical number with Mindy and casting a spell turning the Candy Army into monsters, and it's insane to say the least. The Candy monsters are not ready to give up and attack the city once again. Meanwhile, an argument between Irwin and Haas turns into a battle. Mindy summons a giant candy monster, and this creates a situation where Haas is pinned down and Irwin risks his life to protect him despite every nasty little thing he has said about Irwin being a monster. There's also another musical number about not wanting to grow up with Jeff and Fred, and it's completely insane. Maybe more insane than the Mindy musical number. Anyways, Haas takes out the monster, thanks Irwin for protecting him, apologizes, and acknowledges that there are good monsters out there too. Mindy also realizes her wrongdoing and apologizes as well. Mr. Bun Bun then makes his final appearance on the top of a platform next to a cup of hot chocolate alongside Scar, who appears to be betraying the Underfist team. Bun Bun then admits to turning Mindy into a witch instead of Irwin, and using her to access Irwin's powers to open underworld portals. He also confesses to causing various misfortunes, such as cutting off Fred's tusks, instilling the fear of spiders into Billy, and haunting Haas in his childhood, which is the reason why he hates monsters so much, and why he's pissed the bed for 30 years.
I was so scared I wet my bed every night for the next 30 years.
Bun Bun offers Scar to pull the lever, which would release the cup of boiling cocoa onto the Underfist team, basically ending their existence. However, in a surprising twist and something completely out of character for Scar to do, he betrays Mr. Bun Bun by kicking him into the vat of cocoa, effectively ending his menacing presence and saving everyone. Grim, Billy, and Mandy then honor Underfist for saving Halloween and the world by giving them these cool shiny medals, but they soon hear a commotion outside. It turns out that an army of what appears to be like mutated squid warriors have emerged from the hole to the underworld created during the team's escape from that realm, setting the stage for what was to come next. And that was basically the whole special in a nutshell. Underfist was a fantastic special that breathed life into the side characters of Billy and Mandy, allowing them to shine brighter than the original main cast. It delved deep into their personalities, revealing multi-dimensional characters that we could all learn from and relate to. Haas Delgado, for instance, confronted his childhood fears and discovered that there are good monsters out there, just as there are good people out there. It's a lesson in not jumping to conclusions about people. Jeff's journey reminds us that adulthood shouldn't mean giving up on fun. You can balance responsibilities with moments of pure enjoyment. So to all of you out there, you should take a cue from Jeff and, I don't know, grab a Go-Gurt and get wild. Irwin's character development teaches us to embrace our true selves and create our own path in life, not conform to expectations. Even the notoriously stingy Scar learns the value of putting aside personal desires for the greater good. Of course, there are more life lessons to uncover in the special, but I'm not here to get all philosophical on you guys. Look, at the end of the day, I'm just an idiot with a microphone, but these are vital takeaways. Accept yourself, embrace individuality, face your fears, choose the right path, and remember that life is way too short to not have some fun. Once again, grab a Go-Gurt and get wild. In addition to the valuable life lessons, one of the delights of Underfist was the inclusion of background cameos by characters from other shows, like Chowder, for example. I mean, that just added an extra layer of fun and nostalgia to the special. Furthermore, the visual storytelling in Underfist was really remarkable. Like, I enjoyed the aging of Scar and Haas, although it kind of drove me crazy that Irwin and everyone else seemed to remain unchanged from their earlier appearances in the series. And the art style, although slightly distinct from the familiar look of Billy and Mandy, was a unique and refreshing aspect. Now, I've mentioned several times already, but it's worth reiterating that Underfist Halloween Bash was originally created as a pilot, and Maxwell Adams had high hopes for it to be picked up as a full series. At the end of the movie during the credits, there are little title cards that hint at potential sequels for Underfist. Now, some of these titles were genuine ideas conceived by Adams, while the rest were clearly supposed to be jokes. Among the real ideas were Underfist versus the dinosaurs and Underfist against the Astro Vampires. So according to Maxwell Adams, Underfist vs. the Dinosaurs plot would have revolved around Eris, the immortal goddess with the power to create chaos and discord, who had been absent from the series since the Billy and Mandy episode Chaos Theory. Eris, after experiencing a breakup with Haas, splits into two versions of herself, Nice Eris and Naughty Eris. Nice Eris seeks to win Haas over as the perfect girlfriend, while Naughty Eris challenges Haas with her more rebellious intentions. Together, they lead an army of dinosaurs in an attempt to prevent their own extinction. And basically, Underfist, the team, would have been tasked with traveling back to prehistoric times to confront and defeat this dinosaur army. As for Underfist against the Astro Vampires, it was intended to be a sequel to Underfist versus the dinosaurs. The film was supposed to take place in outer space, where Underfist would have encountered Nephthys, the Egyptian goddess of mourning, who aimed to ensure that the undead remained in their graves. The plot also involved the Astro Vampires of the Vampire Planet and their leader, Lord Malefactor. There were several other title cards presented after the dinosaurs and Astro Vampires that were just purely jokes. The first of which was Underfist Easter Beatdown, which shows Bun Bun, albeit in a different form, stealing money and throwing Easter egg bombs at Jeff and General Scar. There was also Underfist Return of the Spider Queen, which could have totally been a legitimate sequel, and the title card really makes me angry that Cartoon Network didn't pick up this series. Like, imagine Velma Green returning to take over the world with mechanical spiders. Like, that just sounds amazing. I mean, not for anybody living in Ennsville or in that particular universe, but like watching that unfold on TV from the comforts of my home where there are 0 mechanical spiders just sounds amazing. The rest of the joke title cards include Underfist Action Squad Miami, Underfist Teaches Traffic Safety, and Underfist Babies. So what happened? Why was Underfist not picked up? Well, there are multiple rumors for why Underfist was not picked up and why Billy and Mandy never continued. Apparently, Cartoon Network's president at the time, Stuart Snyder, wanted to focus on new ideas which included live-action shows. Do you guys remember how that live-action Cartoon Network block performed? I mean, Jesus hentai Christ. Remind me later on to make a video on that train wreck of an idea. This idea apparently resulted in longtime creators from the network, such as Adams himself, but also Mr. Warburton, the creator of KND, and Craig McCracken, the creator of the Powerpuff Girls and Foster's Home, to leave the network. One of the other alleged reasons for Underfist not becoming a series was apparently because Maxwell Adams' contract with Cartoon Network expired before moving to the Disney Channel for the TV series Fishhooks, and the special was ultimately set as the finale of the Grim and Evil franchise. However, in a personal Tumblr post in 2021, Adams revealed that his decision to leave the network was not voluntary, as the special resulted in his firing by Michael O'Wheeling, the current president of Cartoon Network Inc., for, and I quote, ruining Cartoon Network's brand with his gross-out humor. Apparently, other creators were let go around the same time, and Adams was forced to sit in a conference room with a bunch of people and watch Michael tear down the entire series. Despite some reported questionable decisions attributed to Michael O'Wheeling, if that last statement was true, it appears that he may be attempting to change course. I mean, notably, Billy and Mandy is now back on Cartoon Network, albeit on Adult Swim's Checkered Past block. There's a possibility that the reruns could gain popularity, and if the series receives higher ratings and there's an increased demand for more Billy and Mandy content, we might see Maxwell Adams return for additional projects. In fact, Maxwell Adams has already penned a new Billy and Mandy movie titled Billy and Mandy Destroy Us All, a cosmic horror musical. He pitched the film idea to Cartoon Network back in 2021, but the executives at the time declined the proposal, pointing out the painful reality that today's children might not be familiar with these characters. However, with Billy and Mandy making a return to the airwaves and being introduced to an entirely new generation of viewers, there's a decent chance that Cartoon Network is using Checkered Past not only for a nostalgic trip for people like me, but also as a testing ground to assess whether today's kids would be interested in more episodes of these classic shows. But that's just a theory. Again, no, I'm not going to do it. At the end of the day, I'm very grateful to have grown up during what I'm dubbing as the first golden age of Cartoon Network, although some would probably argue that there was another golden age before that, or a few of them. Mainly because shows like Ed, Edd and Eddy, Courage, and of course Billy and Mandy made coming home from school very enjoyable. And even though Underfist didn't take off as Maxwell Adams originally planned, the special itself is a timeless classic. And here at the ZeroOmens House of Anxiety and Questionable Life Choices, that shit gets turned on every single year along with a handful of other specials from Cartoon Network and Adult Swim's history. So if you haven't seen Underfist yet, well, it might still be streaming on Cartoon Network's YouTube channel if you guys want to give it a try. In fact, there's a good chance that most of you watching this have already binged that stream since it's been running for like 24 hours a day this October. Or you're like me and you saw it once when you were a kid, and every so often you go back and watch it again. But in case you haven't, content, check it out. It's great. But with all that said, if you guys did go on to enjoy this video, do me a favor and leave a like. Subscribe to the channel if you're brand new around here. Click the bell icon to be notified whenever I upload a brand new video. Follow me on all of my social links and join my Discord server. Links in the bio below. Have a spooky day, everyone, but please remember, don't come to my house. I don't have any candy.